It absolutely would. Yeah, the username field is another decryption oracle, and actually, let's see that real quick. That's a demo I know will work. I say that now. So, intercept on, fire. Okay. So we'll take this password cookie and put that into the username field. Hit forward, and now we can see the decrypted version of that ciphertext. Thanks for mentioning that by the way. I nearly forgot about that one. So that's a nice way to point out this next portion, which is that with a decryption oracle, any ciphertext that uses that same key initialization vector cipher is subject to decryption if you can just find a decryption oracle. And maybe you've seen already that this is not too hard to do. It's a matter of making the right mistakes. So we already saw that, so that demo's done. So one last take-home point that I want to make is that if you can find an encryption oracle and a decryption oracle, it doesn't matter, what you're using, as long as keys and IVs are reused. By the way that cryptography works, anything that's encrypted and decrypted with the same key, IV, cipher is going to be the plain text. So whatever cipher you're using, whatever key you're using, whatever padding you're using, whatever cipher mode you're using, it doesn't matter if you can find an encryption or decryption oracle. Anything with that same key, IV, and cipher is now as good as plain text. So what can you do? I don't want to make too many suggestions because, like I said, not a cryptographer, and the suggestion I might give you might be vulnerable to some other attack. Right now, I think there's a problem in that it's hard to do crypto right. It's unless you're a cryptographer. I think Keysar is nice because it just says, hey, encrypt, decrypt, and you don't have to specify an algorithm in a padding mode and have to know what all that entails. But there's still mistakes. Obviously, giving out information is bad. Leaking output from cryptographic operations is bad. Try not to give the output. Now, in certain circumstances, like the example of the encrypted session data, that's ugly, and there's not really a great way that you can do that right. One thing that you can do, however, is to use a different IV. Don't reuse keys and IVs if you can help it. So that's good stuff. Try to suppress any indication of success or failure if you can. Again, that's not really terribly plausible in a lot of situations. And timing, if you really want to go the extra mile, try to suppress that. But that's, I think, more trouble than it's worth. It's worth noting, however, that timing information can give away the success or failure of an operation. Also, authenticating your crypto is a good idea. Encryption is good, but if people can fiddle around with the message and end up with a valid output, a valid ciphertext, it will still be subject to whatever operation it was going through before. And in some cases, it doesn't matter, what the cipher, the plain text actually is. So, for instance, if you have an encrypted value which represents the amount of money you have in your bank account, your chances are pretty good of getting something better than 0. So if you're at 0 and you just mess around with the ciphertext and you can produce a valid ciphertext, it's probably better than 0. So authentication is good because it doesn't it prevents people from messing with that, at least to some degree. Also, you want to encrypt and then MAC. If you MAC and then encrypt, it still allows for padding oracle attacks. So that's it. If you have any questions, I'd like you to come to the Track 2 QA room and ask them there. So no questions right now. Thank you.